Hi, everybody. I am Donna Reid, and this is Donna Reid Talks Voice. And today I am inviting two amazing people to share the screen with me. My dear, dear, dear friend Peter, who I've known for many, many years, good friend, a longtime student, Peter Marinaro. And Peter, how long have we known each other?
I since 2006. So
Long
how many? A
time.
long time, very long time.
Peter is an amazing dancer, singer, actor, director, all around amazing, talented, artistic person. And we're going to have Brittany sing for us. Hi, Brittany. Do you want to introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, hi, I'm Brittany. I am from Bloomington, Illinois, and that is where I currently am.
Illinois. I'm from Chicago. Fabulous.
Oh, great. Yeah, it's 2 hours south of there. But yeah, I've been singing, dancing, acting since I was a little child, and then I've thankfully been blessed to do it the rest of my life. So yeah, thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Thank you. Thank you for doing this. So let's get right to it. We're going to do the format of you're going to do a 16 bar cut, an audition cut, and you're just going to sing it. And then Peter and I will take it from there and we'll see what happens.
Great. Thank you. You'll see me carried shoulder high by famous people I've never met. But when I leave the rear, it's from the rear. You'll hear I ain't done yet.
Wonderful.
Great. Yeah. So I have to start out by asking, I like to know why people chose the audition songs that they chose. So why this song for you?
Okay, well, first off, I feel like no one does this show or talks about it, at least like the people my age. And I think it is such a wonderful show and it's so fun and it's got an amazing female lead. So that's why, first off, I wanted to put it in my book. It also shows it's really high. And like Debbie Reynolds just belts it in the movie. And so that is another reason why. But it's just such a like happy girl power, but in a golden agey musical way and not a contemporary way. So that's why I picked it.
Yeah, no, 100%. So when bringing this in for an audition,
Mm,
I feel like sometimes when the material surrounds anything about social justice or justice of any kind, really, I think and I'm not saying that you're doing this necessarily, but I think it's easy to say, I'm doing this song for this or for that, for feminism, right? For food justice, whatever the case may be, right? Which is kind of a general blanket. So, what I'm going to ask you to do when we approach this again is to get more specific within, and it doesn't necessarily doesn't have to be about girl power. It can if you want. You don't have to tell me what it is about, but I think because Molly Brown, it was truly a trailblazer, right? And what she's talking about here, this is, I think this starts at the beginning of the show. It's around 1900, and she's talking like I think the song starts. I'm going to learn to read and write.
yes.
She's younger in this point of her life, and she sees such a bigger life for herself. So for you, what I'm going to ask you to do is to pick something that you are passionate about and to pick a person that you've had a specific conversation with about that topic.
Okay. Hmm.
Yeah. So that now we're narrowing in specifically on this power that this character has.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Hmm.
So that's one of the big things I want to focus on. And I think, because this song is, like you said, it's really big, you sing really high. And, if you're going to, to be honest, I think if you were able to bring this into an audition, you're asking for 16 bars. I think there's a world where you can add a little more maybe at the front end to give
Okay.
a little build up. But also, if they're asking for a shortcut, it's perfect for your cut that you have here. It's perfect, I think. Um, so yeah, that's something I want to focus on.
Okay.
just to make it much more specific. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think, and then Donald will help us with some vocal stuff here.
I didn't notice anything technically that, oh, was a little strained here or, was a little that there. The one thing I did notice is that it doesn't seem, I mean, it's such a short piece for what you're doing it, but it needs to be, I think, a little bit more diverse. It's kind of all belted and it's short and it's all of that. And the sounds are amazing. I love the sounds. I think the sounds go with what it is that she wants to say. And I'm going to do this and I'm going to get it done. You gave me when you gave me the piece, two things. You gave me the piece, sent it to me, and I said, nobody does Molly Brown, which exactly what you said. I thought that's amazing, which is also very good for an audition. Nobody would expect you at your age to bring in this piece. Yes, it does go high and it shows that you can belt the high. And I looked at the F, I said, she gonna belt that F? And you did, and that was amazing. And one thing that I want to just point out for my listeners, you belted the F, but it wasn't just pure chest voice. I mean, it was obviously some kind of a mix. Because I find it doesn't seem to be the case with you. I find, because I'm throwing in my little technical bits whenever I can, right? I find that with belters, if it doesn't all feel like a chest voice to them, they say, oh, but I'm not belting. It doesn't feel like a chest voice. But no, it's about the sound. It's not about if you're feeling like a mix or a chest voice or whatever. It's about what is the sound. And again, that sound on that F is amazing. All of the sounds are amazing. But is there a place where you can feel that you can convey what you're saying, especially in the beginning of the song, where it's not as boom, 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 boom? I'm wondering if it can, and I don't even want to say pull back, but it's just a little bit too much of the same. And I think that goes along with what Peter's saying about making it a little bit more specific.
Yes.
So that would be my only thing. Now, technically speaking, it sounds like everything is easy. Is there anything you don't find easy?
No, I do feel like everything feels easy, but that what you're saying makes complete sense. As I'm like listening back in my head, hearing it, it does sound the same, and I think I'm excited to do it again.
Good.
With those two suggestions in your brain, try it again, see what comes out.
Okay,
And
cool.
before we do that, going along with what Donna said about the beginning, starting at a different place, let me help you out with that. So
Mhm.
you have a person who you would be having this conversation with in mind.
Mhm.
Yeah. I want you to imagine that you've had this rant of a conversation of your thoughts on a certain topic, and you're going off and you're feeling passionate, and then the person says, "Yeah, but do you think you can do that?" And you know that moment when someone catches you off guard that way, and I'm sure we've all had those experiences as of late, right? And you're just, it's that, what? Did that person really? And I want you to process that to then gear you up again, so that we're starting at a place where you're caught by surprise, and it's like you're also having to prove to yourself again, because this person has just questioned your ability here,
Yes.
your beliefs. Yeah,
Okay.
so maybe add that to the beginning, and that might help us out with this.
Okay. Okay, great. I have the person in mind. I'm ready. You'll see me carried shoulder high by famous people I've never met. But when I leave the rear, it's from the rear. You'll hear I ain't done yet.
Made all the difference.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think just for fun, I actually would like to try that again.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you to go like 100% over the top with your acting.
Okay.
So in that, because you have like a nice little intro in your track there. So I want to see that experience of someone saying something to you, the reaction that then propels you. And for now, for fun, don't think about it too much. And I just want you to be big and over the top with it.
Okay.
And that doesn't mean though, because now we can very easily then add that with the vocal, and the vocal just gets ah. Try and fight that, and just with your acting and physicality, maybe make it over the top. And let's see, just for fun.
Okay. Okay. Yes. You see me carried shoulder high by famous people I've never met. But when I leave the rear, it's from the rear. You'll hear I ain't done yet.
Yeah.
Now, of course, that was maybe over the top, but
I didn't think so personally.
exactly. So, and sometimes we think, oh, that's too much. That's too much. And sometimes, yeah, it might be. But now at least you can decide where you want to pull back a little bit, or
Right.
where you, right? So if we were to continue on with this, I would then say it's as if someone dropped a bomb on you, left the room, and you're just like, oh, I just want, right? So that also can affect how you're starting it.
Yes.
And then just one last thing I would say for your I ain't down yet. On the down, there was a little bit of a pull away, or I don't, maybe a close your eyes moment that you had. I think that you're letting down. You're backing up, versus this character in this moment is moving forward and saying, no, 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 no.
Mm-hmm.
There's much more to come. This is just the beginning.
Yes.
And I think there's also power in that. So it's not so much anger, but she believes in what she's saying so much.
Mm-hmm.
It excites her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Again, technically, I have nothing to fix or say. It's all working very, very well. I really, why fix something try to fix something that's not broken? I will give you one hint. Being an Alexander teacher, a teacher of the Alexander technique, the one thing I would do is make sure your feet are grounded. I want to see a groundedness, and make sure, but your knees are unlocked, because it's grounded and solid, but not rigid. So
Mm-hmm.
she's determined, but obviously flexible enough to get done what she needs to get done. Because people who are determined yet rigid won't get things done. So the groundedness, your feet are grounded, and your upper body is mobile and animated. There's that, you've got the groundedness, you've got the animation, that's how people get things done. Just a little body thing to give you to help with what your character's doing.
Yeah. Yes.
And then tagging along with that, thinking about how this character grounds herself, or stands and sits, and applying that is going to be super helpful. Yeah, I would like to try that again. And I guess a good question is, like, how did you feel about that when I asked you to make it over the top? How did that feel?
It actually didn't feel over the top at all. And I think like, as actors, when we're on stage, obviously we want to go over the top, and it doesn't appear over the top to the audience. But I do think, especially myself in an audition setting, I struggle with, like, I want to be myself and I want them to see myself, but I'm also presenting a song from a musical, and they need to see this character, whether it be this song or something else. So I think I struggle with that. So being over the top is actually not over the top at all.
And one thing, as a long time teacher, if I were, I'm never do auditions, obviously, but if I were there, if somebody is a little bit too much, it is always easier to pull them back than to grab from somebody who's not enough. That's, as a teacher, we all know this. Peter, you know this. If you're a little over the top, you can, the director can say, you know what, just pull it back a little bit. but it's hard to get somebody, can you give a little more? Can you give a little more? That's the harder way to go. So personally, and Peter, you're the director, but as a director, I would think you'd rather have the over the top a little bit more that you can pull back than the opposite.
100%, 100%, because and it kind of we get a full sense of where this person can go, and this is something that I like to do, and why. And Brittany, I think I've since we've worked together, I've tried this and we've done this before, because I like to see how far an actor can go, where their buttons are, right? It's a good way of kind of gauging what their capabilities are, and how it pertains to the character. And I think me asking you to do that, you just went for it, and which I think is really important. And just to tie it into how like the business is operating now, we're all online, right? We're all on Zoom. So if for an audition setting, and with Zoom, it's very easy to. Have you done any auditions via Zoom, Brittany, or anything? No?
Not via Zoom. Mm-mm.
Well, it's hard to kind of obviously see where the future is going, but I'd like to think that Zoom is going to be a bigger part of the initial process, especially with theater, I think, and I think it's a great thing. And I think it's easy because now we're like, oh wait, so we're on camera, so now do I have to
Yeah.
pull back a little bit? And I think you have to make that choice. If you're doing a I Ain't Down Yet from Molly Brown and it's too like complacent,
Yes.
I think that's fighting each other there. So I think going there, and then I can say, hey Brittany, can you just tone it down a little bit? Can you just focus it in as if you were going right into the camera, right? That's fine, and you would make that adjustment. So I think depending on the piece and what it asks of you, you need to make that judgment for how big you want to go,
Yes.
right? It's hard. It's harder to gauge because you have this little camera here and what are they seeing on the other end here, right? But I think this is good practice for that, for sure.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So go ahead, give it a
Yeah.
Okay.
And with that said, Brittany, now I want you to tone it down like 25%.
Okay. Okay.
As if we were in an audition setting here on Zoom, and I wanted to see how I can pull her back a little bit. Let's see how that goes.
Okay. Yes. You'll see me carried shoulder high by famous people I've never met. But when I leave the rear, it's from the rear. Yo, here I ain't done yet. I always giggle after. That felt better, I think, for many reasons, but I did not move my feet. I made my feet glued to the ground, and I think that also comes in with auditioning too. We get very like, but it made me feel more connected, and also keeping my eyes open. I do that a lot. We try and feel things and close our eyes, but those two things really helped me direct the thought more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with closing your eyes, if it's a choice, then I'm here for all of that. But I think if you're doing it habitually, then that's something, I like to bring that to actors' attention so they can make the choice to do that versus it just happening because they're feeling.
Yes.
Feel everything, right? But yeah, see, so now that was highly different from the time you did it before, where I asked you to go bigger, and this may happen in an audition situation. But so I think now that we're in this age of the digital world now with auditions or what have you, we can record ourselves too, right? And get to watch ourselves back, and so we can analyze, oh, I'm moving all over the place. They're not going to see me. I'm going in and out of the frame. Whereas if you're in an audition room, they're following you. They're in the room with you. So these are good things to watch what you're doing. And specifically what Donna was saying about planting your feet. That made all the difference, and we saw this groundedness of this character. That's not to say you can't move, but again, making the decision to move versus I'm just dancing around over here.
Right. One of the things, again, I have nothing technically to say, but that goes along. One of the themes that I have when I teach a lot is whatever it is you do, it has to be a decision. So if you plant your feet, I decided to plant my feet as opposed to, well, I'm rigid, I can't move. If you're moving, you decide, I want to move. If you're doing a particular mix on a particular note, that's the mix you decided you want, not, well, I'm singing the note and that's what randomly comes out. Where do you take the breath? I made a decision to take a breath there because my character needed to take a breath there. Everything, when you're going through the process of working a piece of music, everything has to be thought out. But once you think it out, you have the flexibility to say, that's done. I thought that out, but maybe that didn't happen this time I sang it. Fine, I'll change my mind. I'll do something else. Or maybe something else happened. Then you become aware of it. It's more awareness than anything else. Did I take that breath there? Yeah, I did. I didn't mean to, but hey, it worked. You're just being aware as opposed to, oh, did I breathe there? I don't know. That's unacceptable. Whether you breathe there or not every single time doesn't matter. But being aware of what it is you're doing. You are obviously quite aware of what you're doing because you're taking every suggestion and you're doing that. And again, I want to talk to my listeners. Those of you who want to be in musical theater or the performing arts on a professional level, you better have this awareness. You better have this attention to detail about it. You can't just go up there and just kind of sing and kind of whatever, and it comes out. And, you know, you really have to, if you're going to be an artist, this is what you have to focus on. So just a little aside there. I wanted to get my little rant in.
Yeah, absolutely. And going along with that, like Brittany, I threw about 3 different variations of how we could approach this within 15 minutes. And you just kind of went there. You didn't think about it. Like, obviously, you had a moment to think, but you didn't get lost in that. Oh, he wants me to do this. Am I not doing that? Right. You just kind of went and I feel like I'm just having a good time right now, and I feel like in an audition room, that's all we want. I feel like we want people to come in, have a good time, show us themselves. And because you mentioned earlier that sometimes you feel like you have a hard time putting yourself into these different roles. I don't think don't be so hard on yourself because, and granted, I know you a little bit by now, so I know who you are and your sensibility, but I think you naturally access that. You're able to blend that, and I think you need to trust that a little bit more. Just like at the end when you finish, you said, I always laugh when I'm done singing this high F or whatever you were singing. But in the audition room, in that moment, we're getting a sense of who you are. Every little thing, how you process things, like we're picking up on all of those little cues. So I think just trusting that it's there, because it is.
Now, of all of the choices that you had, that Peter gave you to do this, do it again and choose what you absolutely want to do. What is your choice? Of all of those, which one did you like the best? Which one, you're by yourself, you worked out all these choices, which one would you present?
Do you want me to do it again? I would love to do it again.
With your choice, you're going to do it the way you feel you want to do it. You can give yourself a second to think about it.
Okay. I think I know. Okay. You'll see me carried shoulder high by famous people I've never met. But when I leave the rear, it's from the rear. You'll hear I ain't done yet. I feel like I mixed a couple.
So that's the best part about this, when we get to like work, obviously preferably with someone who can bounce back ideas and can give us that second ear, that second eye on what you're doing, right? But at the end of the day, when you go into that audition, we can coach this 10 more different ways. But when you go into that room, you make that decision. And it could be a mix of one or two of all of them. But I think I'm glad you had her do that, Donna, because at the end of the day, it's up to the performer to make those choices. We can coach and we can say, try this, try that, try that. But making that decision for yourself, I think there's also power in that, going into a room knowing I'm doing this and this is how I'm doing it. My voice teacher, my acting coach, right? Thank you for all of your work. And now it's my time to do my thing. There's power in that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a quick story, and actually my amazing editor slash technical director, Nellie Beavers, I believe it's her story. I hope I tell it correctly, but I believe she was working an audition for Chorus Line a million years ago. And somebody came in and they actually got a couple of callbacks and they sang, and the person asked them, "Do you like this song that you're singing?" And they said, "Well, everybody said, my voice teacher said it's a song I should be singing, or my coach said," whoever it was. And she eventually didn't get the role, I believe. And that's a real important point. You have to like what you're doing. You have to love the song, and you have to love your choices, not just because some coach or some voice teacher or somebody said, "Oh, you need to do this." It has to be yours. You have to take a hold of it. The minute I met you, and this is the first time I've met you doing this Zoom thing, I knew that this song was perfect for you just because of your personality. It's like, yes, she would pick this song. That's perfect. Yes, you should do this song. But I can see it's because you love it, not because somebody said you should do it.
Yes.
Absolutely. Translate behind the table. We feel that energy. And I mean, when you're watching shows, you can tell when a performer is so in their element and loves the material that they're doing. You can't escape that. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
What were you saying, Brittany? I cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I was going to say, I've actually, as many times as I've been asked for an up-tempo and a ballad, I have been also asked, can you sing us a song that makes you happy, or a song that you love to sing? I have been asked that almost equal amounts of times as like, can you give us an up tempo? And just from like learning that that's a frequently asked question, and like in the beginning not knowing what song that was, I've picked songs from my book that I know, like, no matter what they ask, every song in my book is a song I love to sing. But yeah, it does show when you're like watching performances. You can tell who kind of likes it, but not really, and then the people who love it. So yeah, absolutely.
Makes a big, big difference, and that's a real important point. All of you people listening out there, real important point. You have to love what's in your book. You have to love every song. Great. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you. This is amazing.
Good working with you.
Thank you. Me too.
Thanks for watching Donna Reid Talks Voice. If you have any questions for me about this episode, or if you'd like to join me on a future episode, please visit donnareedtv.com and click Contact.